Hey all, welcome to a brand new series called Community Deep Dive. So in this series, we'll be deep diving on different topics of communities with top community experts and leaders across the globe. So in this line today, we have Ayush, and Ayush is here with us to discuss about community-led GTM. Thanks, Ayush, for joining us today. Ayush is a four times entrepreneur,
Thank you,
and
Omnath, for inviting.
yeah, thanks a lot. So he's a four times entrepreneur and is also an expert in GTM, especially with community led. Let's hear from him today. Ayush, please introduce yourself to the audience and also talk about how you are involved into communities and community led GTM, right?
Sure. So thanks for inviting. And talking about my background, so I certainly didn't know at any point in my career 10 years ago that I would be talking about community-led GTM after 10 years. I graduated from IIT Roorkee as a tech professional way back in 2014, but started building my first startup in 2016. I was always been passionate about talking to people, understanding their problems,
Mm-hmm,
and just bring a human back to the scenario. I have built four startups, out of which three were bootstrapped, and never invested a single penny into paid marketing because of the one reason that I always found a way to network with the people to create that value system that even if my product or service is not delivering a value, I personally am delivering a value to them. That is
true.
how intuitively I started following a community led approach, because whether it's ed tech for me, or SaaS for me, or marketplace for me, whether my audience is working professionals or school principals or uh, uh, job seekers or HR professionals, I always try to create that feeling of community.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So I found it very powerful, and 6 7 months ago I when I decided to take a step back from building a startup, I thought that okay, whatever I have done can also be transpired and helpful to founders out there. Started talking to founders and did some community engagements and interacted with more than 100 founders so far. And I have understood that what I have done is somewhat net normally people didn't follow as a part of the GTM approach.
true.
That's how I started talking more about community led GTM. And then I was following certain marketing gurus and thought leaders who have built things in at 20 years more experience. They are talking the same thing what I'm talking, because for them it's like breaking the tone, because every 10 years your marketing motions needs to be changed,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
because 10 years cycle is a cycle wherein all the market channel which is at focus evolves to a point where it gets saturated,
right.
and then new channel comes in which starts getting traction. So
Mm-hmm,
you basically have to break the tone to get into the consumer mindset, to get into the prospects mindset. And that's how community led GTM started gaining traction recently. However,
mm-hmm,
it's being followed for quite some time, but lately it's being hot topic because the other GTM channels, other marketing channels have a steep declining conversion rates.
right. Very interesting. I think community led GTM as a whole topic is itself is very interesting. Um, why do you think it's gaining the prominence in this industry, right? In the current landscape?
It's basically bringing the human to human connection back to the scenario. Take a simple example. 10 years ago, email marketing started getting popular,
Mm-hmm,
right? At that point in time, people used to write emails. When someone actually received that email, there was a feeling of human connection, that someone has sent me a letter.
mm-hmm.
Now everything is automated. So a system is sending that email.
Yeah, true.
Now everyone knows that that a letter is being sent by a system. So there is no human connection to it. There is no human feeling to it.
Mm-hmm,
So when people know that it's not being done by a human, there is definitely a feeling of detachment. And when there's a feeling of detachment, how will you gather an attention? It's as simple as that. Today, if you ping someone personally on LinkedIn, you would get a response because he knows that you have sent him message personally. But
Yeah,
today, if you copy paste a message and then send a message to someone on LinkedIn, he would not respond because he knows that it's a blind copy and paste things. So people look for those human emotions when you, because it comes from inside, right? Why
yeah,
community emotions are coming into scenario? Because it's an entire framework under people-led motion, which Mark Ellens has evolved recently, which encompasses everything: other communities, your own communities, your customer communities, your partnerships, everything related to people-led GTM.
true.
So what is so if you ask me that Ayush, if you can concise why community-led GTM comes into being or is getting prominence, is because you as a single company can't maintain one-on-one connections with 1,000 people at once
Hmm.
with a giving mindset. You
Right.
can maintain connection with taking mindset, which you have been doing so far, but you can't maintain one-on-one connection with giving mindset. And that's where community led GTM comes into picture, because as a community builder or as a community manager or as a giving mindset person, you actually can create a value for the entire group.
Hmm.
And even if you are not present, the group can self correct the things and can also create a value for each other, provided it's done in the right way. That
True.
is where communities are so powerful.
True, very true. I think human connections is gaining very importance with respect to brand building as well. Like a lot of brands are looking to have deep connections with their customers or their audience, right? I think so now brands understand, now everyone understands like community is a great way to kind of create those human connections, right? So what is the next step? How do they go about it with respect to how do they plan their community led GDM and how do they nurture that, right?
See, the first point is understanding for whom you can create a value and
Mhm,
who is the most important person in your outreach strategy. So take a simple example. Let's say a B2C product. A B2C product has a single audience, whether it's a buyer or a user. In case of a kids products, buyer is a parent, but user is a kid. In case of any other D2C product, the buyer and user is the same.
mhm,
So there, you know that I need to touch the chords of my buyer or a user. Now, in case of a B2B scenario, there is a buyer, user, and an influencer.
mhm,
Depending on your product, you need to see that whom you can create a value. Take a simple example. You are building a collaborative product like Notion, Airtable, ClickUp, and whatnot. So you always try to target users because you know that the value they will create on the platform will have a compounding impact, because at the end they have to use the platform and there's a collaboration involved, so they can also use other templates. So basically it's solving their execution problem, so gratification is immediate.
mhm.
Take a simple example of someone is building a CRM tool.
Okay.
For them it's important to engage the buyers, because for users there is no gratification.
Mhm.
It's a pain for users using a CRM, right?
Exactly. Mhm,
But you need but you need to see that for whom you are creating a lot more value, whether it's your buyer or your user. And when you know that, okay, I'm creating a lot more value through my product to this particular entity or this particular group, then you start segregating their functional needs, social needs, emotional needs, and psychological needs.
mhm,
Take a simple example. Today you are building a community platform. If you invite me into your community, let's say, now I have a functional need what you which you will solve. Okay, Ayush, I'll tell you how to build a community. I'll basically make your working job easier. It's not only about my tool, but I'm also facilitating you with the right templates and best practices to do it well.
mhm.
So my personal agenda is getting solved, which definitely would not have any material impact on you. but it would build that trust through those intangibles what you are doing through me, for me. Now you will solve my emotional needs also, that Ayush, you don't need to worry about anything. If you have any problem, come and discuss here in my community. Now you're supporting me emotionally also, because in my career I can also go through certain fluctuations, certain roller coasters, right?
Hmm. True.
You are solving my social problem because you are enabling me to connect me with fellow so community builders.
Hmm.
Hey boss, why don't you two guys interact? So basically you are helping me improving my circle,
Right.
not downwards but upwards.
Hmm.
This is
Hmm.
important. Circle needs to be improved upwards, not downwards.
Get it. Get it.
And fourth
Yeah. Yeah.
important thing is psychological needs. Psychological needs is whether I'm not missing out anything.
Hmm. All right.
In the when I'm with Wylo, when I'm with Wylo community, is it something that I would miss out if I'm not joining that? So when you trigger all the things that I decide to join your community, you're basically, so it's like you are not asking me money, you're asking my time. That's it.
Right.
So you're valuing my time like you value my money.
I think I've neatly put this, right? Like different needs that people kind of look for when kind of joining the community. It's kind of very neatly put. And how important like the peer support is these days, right? What do you think? Like it's not just about the connection between the brand and the customer, but also with the other peers in the community, right? So how important is to kind of create that peer support inside the community?
It's important, but you also need to understand that there is only a certain percentage of people who are there to speak out.
Hmm.
So take a simple example. There are people who just joins the community and stay silent. I call them observers or lurkers,
Hmm.
because they are just there to observe. And it's not about they don't want to talk. They're just a silent learners.
Right.
They're just a silent observers. They're just waiting for right opportunity to jump in.
Exactly.
There are people who are dormants, who just don't open the group. It's like their friend have asked him, Ki, boss, you join the group, and then they join the group and then they don't open it. They just archive it. Then there are people who are engage, passive engagers,
Hmm.
passively engaged, I'd say. What they do is they would not initiate any conversation. They would reply on the conversation. They would like or thumbs up on the conversation. And then there's a fourth stage, which is highly engaged people
Hmm.
who initiates the conversation. Your first two category, highly engaged people and passively engaged people, are most important to build that peer-to-peer connection in the community. If there is no one initiating the conversation and you are only initiating the conversation, that means you need to bring those people who can initiate the conversation, because not everyone is a creator, otherwise everyone is a millionaire on YouTube.
Got it.
Right?
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
you have to emulate those interactions. So what who you are in this entire scenario, who are you? You're basically an orchestrator.
Hmm.
You're sitting outside seeing the entire picture and seeing that, okay, what activities I can organize, what actions I can take that can trigger actions from some of the people and can trigger that kind of result for me.
Cool. Cool. Got it. I think yeah, it's true whatever you said. And okay, is there like an any specific industry is communities like specific to only to certain industries or like anyone any brand or anyone could kind of run a community? What do you think about it?
So it depends upon, as I said, it depends upon my persona. People have said it that communities are limited to certain industries because they have seen that developers are more inclined
Hmm.
towards communities. and your some of the working professional categories are also inclined towards communities.
Mm-hmm.
Senior professionals, senior leaders are aligned towards premium clubs,
Mm-hmm.
luncheons, golf clubs. So take a community as a club. When a club is open for all, it's not a club.
Mm.
It's basically a group which people are joining for some transactional purpose.
Right.
When it's an exclusive club, it's only for limited set of people with certain purpose at hand.
Mm-hmm.
So when you compare it with what is happening in an offline, you would find that yes, community building is possible everywhere. But the question boils down to what are the functional needs, social needs, emotional needs, and psychological needs that I am solving. If
Right.
I'm solving enough needs, then yes, there's a way to engage that to create a community. Now, take a simple example. A question might come out as that Ayush, hey, I'm a supplier.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have 10 vendors.
Mm-hmm.
Can I build my community for vendors or basically to onboard more vendors? But you also need to look at that if those vendors are competing, why would they want to be with each other?
Yeah, true.
Then in that case, you need to figure out that okay, I will not touch the competing chord, but I will touch the other chord, which is like okay. So take a simple example: all hotels in a particular city are competing with each other, but still they do have a hotel association.
Mm-hmm.
Why? To basically make sure that all the tariffs, all the policies are in the same order, what they want.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is there is always a way to build a community to make a group of people. But the point is, how am I thinking about it?
Mm-hmm.
There can be a case that someone can say that, hey, Ayush, I am targeting CXOs. But CXOs won't be there in the community. Obviously, they won't be there in the community if you follow a regular approach. You need to create an experience for them because they're exclusive.
Oh.
A CEO won't join a golf club if a golf club is just handing out the leaflets in the market,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it totally depends upon what kind of experience you are creating and what kind of expectations that that persona has with that community.
Right. Right.
That is where I believe that any brand can create a community provided they
Mm.
have an inclination to solve that persona's problem,
Right.
to create a delight for that persona, not from the product, but from your human experience.
Very neatly said. I think there is always a scope, but obviously you need to kind of find the exact needs of the people who are going to be a part of the community. And if you can deliver value, I think anyone can form a current
And I always say that if you believe that you can change your persona in 1 month or 2 months, you are just iterating. Don't build a community. Build a community if you have a passion to solve for that persona for next 12 months.
Mhm.
Otherwise you would eventually go and hit yourself.
Right, right. I think now it kind of boils down to this point, right? I think a lot of people think community is like a short term and they look for the benefits right away, right? So
Hmm.
how can one expect the benefits? Is it going to be a short term or a long term game for with respect to communities? Can you just put it out for people, right? What are the benefits they would kind of receive in kind of hosting a community? And is it a short term game or a long term game?
I look at it in a different way. So people look at community led growth as an acquisition medium to acquire more customers. I look at communities as a way to catalyze the entire business activities when it comes to customer facing things.
Mm-hmm.
It basically catalyzes the entire results, improve the percentage points at every scope. Take a simple example. You have a growth funnel in your business, which is acquisition, which is awareness, acquisition, activation, retention, and monetization, right? Now, in that growth funnel, let's talk about awareness. People are aware about you on your external social media through thought leader initiatives, through email, through SEOs. What if they're also getting a chance to be a part of a close community?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, you are taking a next step for them. So,
Yeah.
awareness is a next level there. Take a case of acquisition. Now, people who are aware already and who are inclined with you, out of them, there are certain people who would be interested to see your product once, who would be interested to talk to you. So, I'll not say that, hey, I have this product, come and buy it because you're a part of my community. No, I would say that, hey, boss, I'm building a community management tool. Come and talk to me and I'll help you how to build it for you.
Mm-hmm.
Or here is a tool which would help you grade your community thinking. Or here is a template which can help you think strategically more about it. So I'm creating, so first I have created a value through my thought process.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm creating value through certain deliverable, because that deliverable is like, so one is gyan, another is execution of that gyan. Then I'm telling them that, hey boss, now you have seen a value that I am creating for you, value that what I'm delivering to you or what I'm providing to you for free also delivering to you. I have built a product which just replicates me, so that I can't help 1,000 people, but I can facilitate that help. So
Mm-hmm.
my product is there, why don't you try it? Now the trust is already there, so your activation starts happening. Now after that activation, suppose someone is falling out, someone is not completing the onboarding, someone has not completed the trial, you start organizing special events for your activated members.
Mm-hmm.
What they will believe that, hey, these guys are with me, they are not running away. I think out of all the vendors out there, these are the most helpful guys out there, because they have already built so much of value for us. So feeling of reciprocity always comes there. Though now they complete the retention part as well. Now, what is monetization? They look at that, hey, in this community only there are 5 customers who are very, very happy with them.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I met this guy in the event already and he's their happy client. Hey, I read this article about this guy already and he's their customer. Okay, let me also try it once. So it just catalyzes the decision making power of your buyer across all these steps,
Mm-hmm.
not just acquisition. So awareness, acquisition, activation, retention, monetization, everything catalyzes by percentage points. Not because you are doing something which no one else is doing, only because you are doing something for that person as per his needs and desires.
Mm-hmm.
So you are building your 1,000 true fans who eventually are gonna be your customers.
Yeah, got it. I think brand having a committee and brand not having a committee, I think there's a huge difference, right?
It has a
In
huge difference, but unfortunately, in today's market scenario where fund crunch is available and people are very skeptical about raising funds, the transactional marketing spend matters more than the strategical marketing spend.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So where do you think, or where does the community stand in terms of brand marketing?
See, I believe a brand, okay, so take a simple example. If you would have met me 4 years ago, you would not have been doing this interview with me,
Right.
because I'm not talking about anything.
Mm-hmm.
No one knows me out there, right? Why we are having this interview today? Because you know that I know about community led growth. How do you know that I know about community led growth? Because I'm writing about it, I'm speaking about it, I'm providing some nuggets about it, I'm just creating value for everyone,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just take this analogy and see that what is a brand. A brand is basically a personification of a company as a human.
Mm-hmm.
So we believe that Wylo is a brand. So Wylo is a human. Wylo has certain characteristics that Wylo is a jolly person. Wylo is a very kind person. Wylo Wylo just helps without asking for anything else. So that's where people starts knowing about Wylo. When people start knowing about Wylo, the main question comes is, what is it that Wylo knows? What is it that Wylo can help me? Now Wylo has started talking about communities. Wylo has started talking about community-led growth. Wylo has started talking about conducting these interviews. Now people know that hey, Wylo knows much better because Wylo is talking about it. Now, if Wylo is talking about it, definitely Wylo is someone who is superior in this segment.
Mm-hmm.
That is where your brand marketing comes through community. A
Got it.
brand needs to be there to build a brand community. Otherwise, you build a community first on the problem statement and then you create a brand community out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, your community will also become a product and you have to do the same marketing expenses to bring people to community.
Right. Again, again, everything boils down to the value that you provide.
Yes, it is. It is. And I certainly believe that you don't need to provide value initially to 1 lakh people.
Uh-huh.
Just create a value for 200 people and bring them with you. Solve for them. Eventually, they will start solving for another 200.
Mm-hmm.
Take a simple example. Here in India, everyone uses WhatsApp and most of the communities are on WhatsApp
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to community led growth. When I have been interacting with founders, they ask me that, are you should I use a whitelisted platform or should I use WhatsApp? I tell them that, do you have a customers? If they say yes, then okay, start building on Vylo and parallelly start attracting people to your community through WhatsApp as a funnel. Otherwise, people need to click a link every time.
Mm-hmm.
So create that medium of distribution. So you need to own that distribution. Otherwise, your distribution will be a headache.
Mm-hmm.
Now, suppose if you don't have customers, if you are ideating, where I just suggest ki, okay, you start building a WhatsApp community, solve for initial 200 people. As you start solving for them and you scale from 200 to 400, 500, then you take a whitelisted community, because then it's on a one forum where everything is preserved as your repository. Otherwise, on WhatsApp, it's ephemeral. So WhatsApp as a community, to a certain extent, I believe when you look at community-led growth, it's one of the transient steps of starting and building a community.
Mm-hmm.
When you have to scale up a community as a brand community, you need to take it to the next level.
Right. Right. I think that is right. I think you need to have like a clear distribution channel in order to kind of grow
Yes.
your
If distribution is there, you can have your brand community.
Yeah. Yeah. True. So let's also kind of talk about the challenges in terms of implementing a community-led GTM for a brand, right? So what are the common challenges that one can face, and how do you think we can kind of get over it?
The first common challenge, I believe, and which I have also faced with a lot of people, is the mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Community building, see, growth definitely is a mindset. Sales is a mindset. Tech is a mindset. Marketing is a mindset. Community is also a mindset. Sales is about one on one. Marketing is about one to many.
Mm-hmm.
Community is about one to a limited set of people initially.
Mm-hmm.
And how can you engage them so that it goes to a sales funnel and a community led growth per se umbrella. The second challenge that I have identified is, when it comes to the mindset problem, it's also who will take the accountability of this.
Mm-hmm.
Because if someone will take accountability for that, he has to report the ROI of that,
Yeah.
which everyone is unsure of. today. And and having limited set of funds, people feel that this may not be required for them as much. But on the other hand, there are founders who are very well versed with the idea, and they believe that community building is something that can take them to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
The third thing is underestimating your resources. Okay, boss, it's community building only. Any college graduate can do it. It's community building only. Anyone can do it in my team. I can put someone for 1 hour in my team,
Mm-hmm.
and then he or she will do it. But that is not the case,
Right.
because community building is like orchestrating 100 moving parts. If someone can't see the higher picture, they just mess up at the lower levels.
Mm-hmm.
So when I do a community building myself or plan a community building myself, I strategize that okay, this is my metrics, this is my funnel of community members, this is my activities, and what activities would lead to improvement of certain metrics in my community, whether it's an engagement metrics or relationship metrics, and how it would improve my funnel in the community.
Right.
So on the back of your mind, continuously value creation mindset. You can't compromise on the value creation.
Yeah, true. I think value
So it's a
creation.
mix of art and science there.
Exactly. Exactly. I think value plus a good process in terms of
Hmm.
bringing everything in place, right? I think that's very important.
Yes.
Cool. I think what we'll do is we can also have like a snippet session now. So what we're going to do is we're
Hmm.
going to kind of pick up some snippets that we picked from your
Hmm.
socials and also your newsletters.
Hmm.
I'm going to share it now.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
you can tell the audience like what it is and what it is about, right?
Sure. Sure.
I think here's a first
Yeah.
snippet
So
that we took.
it's one of my first frameworks in community-led growth.
Mm-hmm.
So people used to ask me that Ayush, is there a method to this madness? What you are telling about? So that's where I built a funnel that okay, boss, don't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Just think about your prospects, create some quality content for them, create some quality events for them, take them to one-on-one consulting funnel or your sidecar product, and then you would see a qualified leads coming at your funnel.
I
And
mean,
then within your community you have people who are casually hanging out, who are actively observers, passively engaged and active engagers, like I told you.
mm-hmm.
They asked me that is the conversion rate similar? I said no, the conversion rates are not similar, because there is a way in which you can move a casual hangout guy to being an active observer, and active observer to even a passively engaged guy.
Mm-hmm.
That means if you have a community of 100 people, today only 10 are engaged, rest 90 you can also activate tomorrow or day after tomorrow.
Right, right. I think it's
And
very easy to.
the best thing is they don't leave you. It's an engine. So that's why it's a form of circle, because it's an engine.
Mm. It's like a continuous cycle that you'll have to keep doing.
Yes.
Great. I think I've neatly put this. Anyway, we'll kind of share this across so more people kind of get to know about the four
Yeah.
C's.
And the important part there is
Hmm.
referrals. I always tell people that you always hear about referral from the customers.
Hmm.
Have you heard about referral from prospects? Community building is also a mean to get referral from your prospective customers, which
That's true.
certainly no other medium can provide.
Hmm. I've actually seen that happening as well.
Hmm.
But we also have another snippet. I think it's about
Yeah.
company-led growth and product-led growth. So tell us about
So
this.
basically, see, so what I have seen is people look at community led growth and product led growth separately.
Hmm.
there is a way in which you can create a fusion of community and product led growth. When you can create now the people understand is how you can think about creating a fusion of community led growth and product led growth. I say that what is the end goal? The end goal is getting people to use your product. Now, when there is a way for people to getting to use your product is solving particular pain point, which is a how.
Mm-hmm.
The best way is you build a community around why and what. You take your nice positioning there. You solve for why and what personally, and then for how you involve your product.
Mm-hmm.
It's essentially that hey boss, I already have put across my expertise in this template. Why don't you use it? And then you let me know if you face any issue.
Mm-hmm.
So the fusion gives very good results because, as I told you, the 5 part cycle: awareness, acquisition, activation, retention, and monetization. It's a PLG funnel.
Right.
But within that PLG funnel, if you introduce the community led motion, it just catalyzes the entire conversion rate.
Yeah,
And
true.
this is a framework, that there's a decision framework, that my values are aligned or not, my feedback is integrated or not, my synergy assessment is there or not, uh, and then implementation framework. What is a
Mm-hmm.
unified platform? What is my product community loop? That how people are moving from product to community.
Mm-hmm.
Then there is user generated content, because people do create a content. I want to get a feedback which is through retention. So entire implementation framework around it. Educational overlaps, that okay, what is my thought expertise here. Analytical integration, because what doesn't get measured doesn't get improved.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what kind of metrics that I'm collecting from my community engagement. So this is about that fusion.
Right. I think again, this is very interesting. More often, I think a lot of brands that I'm seeing is kind of using a community-led product building as well, where they kind of getting the
Hmm.
inputs from the community to kind of build out the product, the right set of products for the customers. In turn, that makes them also happy, right? I think that is also important.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And it's the best way, because when you build your when you start involving your prospects in your product building, it's like you are getting their affirmations first at hand to try your product.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't need to go out and sell. People are already there to try your product, and
Yeah.
if they try it, they would like it. Otherwise, anyhow, you can't do force sell even if you do cold calling.
Mm-hmm.
The main reason why I built this community product fusion framework is because uh, founders used to ask me that Ayush, I'm following PLG. What is the need of CLG? That is community led growth. Some are asking that Ayush, which one should I follow, PLG or CLG? My main response is that a fusion, nothing is perfect than a fusion,
Mm-hmm.
because your product is actually solving the how. You have enough time to solve for why and what.
Right.
If you would be in service, you would be solving for how personally.
Mm-hmm.
If you would be in sales, you would be closing the sales personally. If your product is itself can sell, which is through your how experience of how you focus on building a demand on why and what.
Mm-hmm.
So in your sales funnel, that's why community led growth is different from community building to a certain extent, because it includes certain sales and marketing elements also.
Right.
So you have a marketing funnel. You have to capture the demand, you have to create a demand, and you have to convert a demand. Sorry, create a demand, capture a demand, and convert a demand. Whatever demand is available right now, you try to capture it immediately through your community efforts, because people know that hey boss, I have a need of CRM, so let me just go and talk to him,
Mm-hmm.
or let me just try to understand what is new thing that he's building, or what is the new innovation that he is doing, which
Mm-hmm.
you essentially start showing through your content and event practices on outside or in your community. So you immediately capture that demand through your community efforts. Then you create a demand. by building all your thought leadership through your community engagement. Because anyone who is using a CRM or not using a CRM, I'm taking an example of a CRM.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone who is using a CRM or not using a CRM would need to know that which one is good for me and why. Suppose someone decides to change the CRM because they are not happy with their vendor. Whom would they look up to? Suppose someone has to reduce the cost, someone has to scale up, different preferences.
Yeah.
So you try to create that demand, and then you convert that demand to a product, to the product experience.
Mm-hmm.
Your sales team, so it can be a sales assisted PLG. I'm not saying 100% PLG,
Mm-hmm.
but your product, if can give them immediate gratification, that's the best community and product fusion. Because in your consumer mindset, first they trust you,
Mm-hmm.
then they trust your product, and then they trust your company.
Right.
So this is step one, step two, and step three, even for the trust building. First they
Mm-hmm.
trust you, and the trust towards you can only be done through people led effort, through community building effort, through thought leadership efforts.
Mm-hmm.
Then they trust your product because they get a value from it,
Right.
because of what they see there.
Mm-hmm.
And then they trust your company that yes, I can work with this company or not. Because if a person is good, if a product is good, then I would like to work with a company, otherwise I would not.
True. True. Again, I think community is
So
becoming an important factor here, right? In terms of building the
it
trust
is, it
with
is. If you
others.
if you think on definitely. So my point is, transactional ROI is much important than long-term strategical ROI. That's where community as a concept, community-led growth as a concept will take some time to come in a mainstream. But when it comes to mainstream, you would see 100 different variations of it evolving, and you would see a new channel getting evolving.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Um, all right, so we'll kind of get into the next section. It's kind of a rapid fire. Not anything
Hmm.
related to communities, but just like a
Hmm.
fun segment that we wanted to kind of have. So
Sure.
tell us, like, are you a book person or a movie person?
I'm a book person.
Uh-huh. So maybe kind of share a book that you read recently that's really good, that's going to be helpful for people.
Okay. So not recently, because
Uh-huh.
recently I have been reading a lot more in terms of articles and newsletters. But the book which I have read and which kinds of resonates with me today is Hard Truth About Hard Things
Hmm.
by Ben Horowitz, I believe.
Hmm. So what is the book
It
about?
just strips you apart.
Uh-huh.
So basically, it's about a founder journey,
Uh-huh.
and founder journey from building something great to falling into the trenches, then coming out as a winner, and how he built his own tribe of his people around him, which helps him pass through that journey, and how he builds that tribe. Because community is not only about your customers, community is also about your set of people whom you are working with.
Hmm. Hmm.
That set of leadership and involvement within the community, that they can do anything to for the cohesivity of the group and taking it to the next level, which is again a business growth
Hmm.
in terms of business. So hard truth about hard things is about the hard uh, points in any entrepreneurship or a startup journey. And hard truths is like, there are certain truths that you have to know will be there. You just have to live with it and plan for overcoming those challenges.
Right. Sounds like a very interesting book. I think everyone should be reading it. Uh, so tell us, like, who are your favorite content creators? It can be through any medium, LinkedIn or podcast, anything.
I personally like Andrew Chen and Lenny. Andrew Chen is writing about has written great things about marketplaces.
Yeah,
So I have I have built marketplaces couple of times. So I read extensively his stuff. Amazing thought process.
yeah. His blogs are
Lenny
amazing.
from the product management point of view, from the
Ayush,
yeah, you were saying something.
no, no, I said Andrew Chen's blogs are like so amazing, it's so valuable.
Yeah, and Lenny, because I have been building products for last 10 years. In my college, I used to do it. After my college, I used to do it. And in my startups, I used to build products as well, along with GTM. So extensively followed Lenny as well, his frameworks.
I
And
think with this, we'll just kind of end our super valuable session. Right? Thanks a lot, Ayush, for
sure,
coming here and sharing your knowledge with respect to uh, community-led GTM, talking more about why it is important for brands to have communities, the advantages, what are the things to kind of prepare, right? In terms of what are the needs of the personas. Are you kind of solving that, right? Talking about that, and also kind of in general talking about how it is effective to kind of have a community around your brand. Thanks for joining in. Uh, and also before we also end the session, I'd like to
thank you.
know who is that one person in the community space who you think we need to kind of interview next.
I think you need to, okay, from the community perspective. So I have been a part of a lot of communities, but you need to speak to Praveen from
Yeah,
Thousand Founders.
yeah, I think
I have
he's
been a part of
amazing
multiple
community.
Thousand Founders communities. So okay, you can talk to two people:
Uh-huh.
Praveen from Thousand Founders community and Super Mafias community. Samir Guglani from Super Mafias community.
Yeah, definitely.
Both have built amazing founder communities. Lot of things to I have learned personally from what they have done.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're gonna have both of them in one of our episodes. Let's see how it goes. So thanks a lot,
Yeah.
Ayush, again. Thanks a lot for being here with us and sharing all your knowledge.
Thank you, Omnath. Thank you.
Great.